Nature doesn't need probability, she has geometry. And we still have not done any quantum mechanics. We have followed the classical bivector as it spins faster and faster. It develops cones of angular momentum that grow, and a spin-1 boson develops along the bisector. It has left and right chirality, and inside the mirror plane, the rotational kinetic energy merges into mass. Along the bisector, spin is purely resonant. Any angle phi gives mass, but the maximum is at phi equals 0 when the two blades are locked. To see this construction, project the perpendicular components onto their opposite planes and complete them. Notice the angle is 45 degrees, and the length of the two normalized projections add up to give a magnitude of √2. This is the spin-1 using the usual definition. This is not quantum mechanics, but a direct result of the geometry of the bivector. The root of s onto s plus 1 is a classical body diagonal of a multivector. The s equals 1 confirms the classical spin of 1. It is not quantum. If the two axes, E1 and E3, were not orthogonal, the spin magnitude would not be 1. Spin has a purely geometric origin. I think it is worthwhile for someone to do the classical experiment that might detect the resonant boson. I found no evidence of such an experiment. Bosons come in two forms, composite bosons like shell models and gauge bosons, the supposed carriers of force. Gauge bosons have never been directly observed. They live off shell as mathematical constructs. Their major role is to balance recoil and restore broken symmetry when particles emerge. These particles are excited states of an all-pervasive fermionic field. In Feynman diagrams, gauge bosons appear as internal squiggles and loops, tools of calculation, not carriers of substance. They lack physical meaning. There is no geometric identity beyond the point, and they serve more as bookkeeping devices than real entities. In contrast, the bivector boson is a particle that builds matter and structure. It is geometric and easily visualized. The math involved is trivial compared to the math of the complex chiral fields of the standard model and the mathematical obscurity needed for the many ad hoc fixes to the standard model, like renormalization. Here we follow an electron. First, it exists in free flight, and then, when encountering a polarized field, all its properties emerge like a flower opening in the sun. Its blades extend left or right to build. To visualize the state and symmetry of the body-fixed frame, we must imagine sitting at the origin of the bivector and spinning like a tiny hadron collider. When the two cones touch, the two spins lock into mass. As they intertwine, left and right reflection is lost, and when this happens, the body-fixed frame undergoes a symmetry transition to form states of definite parity. The bivector remains the same between the classical and the quantum. Only the symmetry inside the body-fixed frame has changed. It is not possible for me to continue without giving the simple mathematical basis for almost everything I have said so far. Without explanation, I write the geometric product from geometric algebra as the only two things you can do with two vectors. Take the scalar product and the wedge product. These are the symmetric and antisymmetric properties of two vectors. For normalized spins, the geometric product is a unit quaternion. Phi is the angle between the two spins. We interpret the two contributions as mass and rotational kinetic energy, which are geometrically mixed by phi. As the axes move closer and closer, the kinetic energy intertwines into the double helix of mass within that common mirror plane. Reflection is lost, energy converts into mass, chirality is cancelled. Here I take as an example the angle between the two cones is 80 degrees and get 0.174 mass, and 0.984 remains as kinetic energy. Here we spin faster, and I take the angle now as 40 degrees, and we get 0.766 mass and 0.643 kinetic energy. Finally, all the kinetic energy is converted to mass at phi equals 0. We must then remove the cones. Here, the left and right chiralities are completely merged into a double helix of stability. In free flight, spin conserves energy by converting it to mass. This geometric mass-energy balance replaces a Higgs mechanism with one that seems to permeate our lives. But we live in, say, a right-handed frame, and we see our reflection in a mirror, which is in the left-handed frame. This is not reality, but a reflection. Reality remains in our right-handed frame. We see only a reflection. The matter used to make the wheels and shafts, and the force that makes the wheels turn, are both in our domain. The bivector is different. If one hand is in the right-handed frame, the other is in the left-handed frame. They do not see their reflection in the mirror plane like we do, but their real opposite chiral hand. Mother Nature has a left and a right hand. The famous expression E equals mc squared has its origin in the geometry of the bivector through the geometric product. When the bivector is spinning slowly, reflection is the symmetry, because each axis is indistinguishable from its mirror image. It is possible to spin faster, but it appears that after the intertwining of the two chiralities, they are locked and cannot create a greater angle that allows the two cones to pass each other. They are stuck in their mirror plane. It seems the electron jumps to the stable massive state in free flight of a boson of spin 1 with two locked fermionic blades of spin 1/2. Being all mass, the bivector cannot absorb more torque energy. Determining the symmetry of the body-fixed frame at this point is based on the fact that the only difference between the left and right hands of nature is their opposite chirality and energy. The two states differ only by the fact that one is in a right-handed frame and the other is in a left-handed frame. Therefore, if we permute the frames from left to right, then the states change from one to the other, and switches psi plus to psi minus. Indeed, for the 1-3 plane, P13 is a parity operator. Therefore, it follows that permuting 1 and 3 swaps the states. When left and right are added, the torque axis cancels, leaving only the internal dynamics of the massive 1 and 3 axes in the body-fixed frame. When they are subtracted, note the 1 and 3 axes now cancel, leaving only the torque axis, which is in the laboratory fixed frame. Parity separates the laboratory fixed frame from the body fixed frame and treats them as complementary. It is at this point that the quantum domain begins. As energy converts to mass, space undergoes bifurcation into two complementary domains. The body-fixed frame describes the disk responding to internal torques. The laboratory-fixed frame describes the force that turns the axis that provides the torque. This leads us to the conclusion that matter has even parity and force has odd parity. Nature separates the two, and this allows them to build.